best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends sat at the table doing shots, tripping fast, and then we talk slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade.
This operation is clearly geared 100% towards sales. There is such a lack of interest in servicing your vehicle, but if you walk in those doors there are 100 salespeople waiting to eat you alive. They are going to give you anything you want with chocolate and cream on top. They're going to chuck everything at you to buy a vehicle here. But the problem is, you're spending big money. It's not about just the purchase. There's a lot more that goes into buying a coach than the purchase. The biggest mistake we made is we bought from RV1. There was no backup service. And basically, once they got the check and the check had cleared, we're on our own. And it goes a long way when you spend that sort of money, especially if you're of the older generation and you're not very technically minded and you can't get underneath with a wrench. But one thing I will tell you from everybody, without exception, that we have spoken to here and elsewhere, they will never bring their coach back here more than once. We've spoken to people who said, I've brought my coach here once, never again, even though they bought from here. So what lets Lazydays down is A, the bad attitude of the service people, and B, the complete ignorance. They have no idea what you're talking about. Now, Lazydays are obviously selling a shed load of coaches. I mean, they sell Tiffin, they sell Newmar, they obviously sell Integra. And I've just bumped into Richard and Kathleen. You've just picked up this year today?
Yes, we did.
Have you actually been out on the road yet?
No.
Ooh, so where are you going to next?
We're going to Fort Myers, and then we're going to Washington, D.C. the end of April.
And have you got any money left in the bank?
No.
What money?
Exactly. That's the problem when you buy a coach. You spend all your money. These guys are going to have a great time, and I really do wish you all the best. And
thank you.
And if if you're on the road, and you need any advice, call someone else. 220 service bays here, most of which are in use pretty much all the time. Sometimes these bays will have 2 or 3 different coaches a day. But sadly, getting from the front of the building to the back of the building where the work starts takes 3 to 4 hours, half a day, to get a vehicle from when you book it in into the bay to be worked upon. Crazy. A few facts about Lazydays. This is their flagship branch. It's on a 124-acre site. They employ, they say, between 250 and 300 people. Not sure why they can't tell me an accurate number. I mean, there are so many people here. I don't think they even know how many people are employed here. There's probably about 8,000 golf carts, or it feels like it, the way that when you go anywhere you nearly get hit by 2 or 3 of them. And there are 220 service bays. There are far too many people, in my opinion, who work on the admin side of the service department. And if they only got rid of half of those and got a few decent people in, this operation would run a lot better. But we won't be bringing our RV back here. No way. Not unless it breaks down outside, which I doubt, because it's got a Cummins engine and they're pretty reliable. Now, we've just returned from Lazydays, and this is our first real stop. And as you know, if you've been following the blog, I've actually had a new steering box fitted, which Spartan agreed to and had fitted within probably 2 days of my request. So fantastic, response from Spartan. Just thought I'd have a look and see what a great job Lazydays did of installing the new steering box. Okay, right, I just need to open the generator slide, and the steering box is actually to the right hand side of the generator. This is the steering knuckle joint from the steering column down into the steering box, and you can see that the one nut and bolt that holds the universal knuckle joint in place is actually only held on. The bolt isn't long enough, and it's actually only held on with 2 turns of a nylock nut. And a nylock is at the end of the nut, it has a nylon, so when it bites into the nylon it holds the nut tight so it can't shake loose. So that probably will fall out on the road somewhere, and we could possibly lose all of our steering altogether. So this is what Lazy Days turns out, and this is how our vehicle was given back to us. And it's only because I've had the time to look that I noticed it. How many people would do that? How many people would get underneath and actually inspect their work? So absolutely terrible and really, really dangerous. This has got to be sorted before we get back on the road.
The club isn't the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, tripping fast, and then we talk slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was hand